I've just been sorting some stuff out in my bedroom, so I'm kind of just perched on the end of the bed with a brew right now. I'm always with a brew, and I feel like I'm always with this mug. I've got loads to tell you. The main thing I wanted to catch you up on though is we went to country in Glasgow last weekend, which was really nice. I wouldn't say it was a spur of the moment decision, but we didn't book it that long ago. Tom's been like massively into country music for years and years. I have probably said for me it's been more of a growing thing. I mean, the artists we went to see last weekend, I didn't really know many of them, other than through listening to Tom's playlist, but it was really good. So I would highly recommend. We stopped at T-Bay Services on the way. They've got a farm shop. There's also like really cute things in the shop there. We had a bit of time in and around Glasgow as well. So yeah. So on the first night then, we drove up on the Friday. Gorgeous route. I am glad we drove. I think because we knew we were going for a bit of a festival type thing, I think you just expect the trains and carrying luggage and things like that to be really busy. So I am actually glad we took the car up. So we drove up on the Friday. The acts were every evening. I think doors open at something like 4:30. So we didn't really do much on the first day, just kind of got there, chilled, had a bit of food, went to the first evening. The headline on the first night was Keith Urban, who I don't really listen to. Tom listens to a bit of it. He's not like a big Keith Urban fan, and so we were really tired. So we stayed for Keith Urban, but left maybe like halfway through the set. And then on the second day, what did we do on the second day? Oh, we went to the museum. What is the museum in Glasgow called? Because it was really good. It begins with a K. Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum. That's where we went. Really, really nice. Loads of different art. I'm not a massive art gallery person, but I can appreciate a bit of it every now and again. As the art gallery was really good, and the museum I'd say is quite like natural history focus, which for me I love. I mean the Natural History Museum in London I love, and the Manchester Museum, which is very natural history. Love. So we really enjoyed it there actually, and then we did a little bit of wandering around the city. Found a little, I don't really know where it was, but there was a little antiques type quarter that we found that was just on a cobbled street behind our route back to the hotel. So we went there on the Saturday before second night at the arena, and then on the last day, so on the Sunday, we just spent a bit of time in the main like shopping area in Glasgow. Had a bit of like breakfast and coffee out. We walked up to the cathedral and the necropolis as well, which has got views over Glasgow, and just an interesting place. I've not really been anywhere like that before, so that was nice. And yeah, the event itself was really fun. Everyone was in really good spirits. Because we bought a 3-day ticket, some people around us were there for the full three nights, and then other people around us changed each time. But there was a couple right next to us who were there every night, and a couple on the end who were there every night. And it was just like a really nice group of people around us. I think what we were saying before we went was that there's probably nothing worse than if you get there, you're sat next to people that you really don't want to be sat next to, or like they're really loud, you're really quiet, or vice versa. And it just kind of puts a downer on your experience, because you've got to sit next to them for the next 3 nights. But it wasn't like that at all. And actually what was really good about the event is that you have all your acts, and then there's maybe about half an hour between each act, so it gives you a chance to like go to the toilet, get a drink, get some food, and then at certain times they put on a spotlight act, so it's up and coming artists that they put on for like 10 minutes. So if you don't want to leave your seat, you can see another artist. Or they've got this bar downstairs, and they had like an acoustic session going on for maybe like half of the night. So we saw a few bands in the acoustic session as well, and there was a girl that was also from Manchester doing the acoustic set, which was really cool. So yeah, she was called Neve. I think name Zara. I'll have to find her and like link her details, but she was amazing. I don't know if it's because prior to this and the other week we went to a Tyler Childers concert. I think the last time I went to a concert was like at least a year ago. And I can't believe how upgraded the arenas are now. So we went to Tyler Childers at AO in Manchester a few weeks ago, and they've clearly like upgraded everything. Like the kiosks and things are modernised. The food, the standard of food that we got is way better than I ever remember. And then at OVO in Glasgow, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is like pizza, burger, chicken and chips, but it's just so much better than it's ever been. It's not like a little slapdash, grimy, slimy little burger. It was like a proper burger that you'd probably get in a restaurant, to be honest. So the food there, yeah, it was a bit of an unhealthy weekend, but it was actually quite, because I don't really eat that kind of stuff very much, or I have to really be in the mood for it. So the fact that it was all really nice quality, I was pretty chuffed with that, to be fair. But I feel like there's loads of other things going on that I want to keep you up to date on. So I am looking like a bit of a state today because I've been at my lone pony's new yard. So he moved to another yard about 6 weeks ago. And like it's fine. It had enough for him, and it was much quieter than the yard he was on before that, which was a lot bit busier, bigger, amazing facilities, but just very business oriented. Which I didn't mind, but I quite like the quiet, like family atmosphere of livery yards. So I hadn't obviously said anything to his owner, but his owner said, "Oh, I'm moving him on to a new yard because I prefer somewhere smaller," which obviously worked for me as well. So he got moved about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and then within a few weeks of being there, we were told, thanks everyone for having your horses here, but I want to move the yard in a different direction. I'm gonna ask you all to move on, basically, which was a little disappointing and a bit of a shame because, I mean, you don't know what people's circumstances are, but generally I feel like those kind of decisions are not made overnight. So it came as a bit of a shock, really, considering that by the time we left, which was today, we'd only been on the yard 5 or 6 weeks. So we must have only been on the yard maybe 3 weeks when we were told that information. So yeah, that was a bit disappointing, but I mean, obviously it's day one, so we don't know, but the yard that he's moved to today is like incredible, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, it's not got all the fancy bells, like it's got an arena, but we can't use it at the minute because it's been resurfaced. So, it's not got jumps and all, not that we do that, really, to be fair with him, but it's not got like tons and tons of stuff like yards he's been on previously have had lunge pens, horse walkers, indoor arena with jumps, outdoor arena with jumps, like all of that kind of solarium. It doesn't have all that stuff. It's, it's your stable, it's your field, it's your arena, but the hacking is meant to be incredible. It's a private yard, so there's us and like 5 of the horses on there. We met 2 of the other liveries today. Just the nicest women ever. Had a coffee and a biscuit on the yard with them. Our pony settled in, or seemed to settle in really well, loaded really well, got straight in his stable, and because the stables are in like a little bit of a courtyard, they've got a gate on the little courtyard bit. So if you shut the gate, they'll let the ponies just have their stable doors open and roam free if they want to. Obviously not when they're all there, like that'd be chaos if you had 5 or 6 ponies kind of just in and out of each of the stables and stuff like that. But if it's quiet, they're quite happy for you to just have your pony roam around, so he doesn't have to be either stuck in a stable or tied up outside, but you might not be ready to turn them out yet, or he might not be being turned out, or whatever. The fields there are just massive, considering there's literally a handful of ponies. So yeah, I think it's going to be really nice. Like, I really hope it works out, because I think it suits his owner and what she likes. It suits him because I think he's suited to smaller yards. I'm quite happy anywhere, but I think, I really think this will be a nice place. So that's another thing that I wanted to share with you. Update on where I'm at with ponies. I'm currently just basically gathering cash together to hopefully get my own. I'm not in a rush. I'm still really happy with my loan. It's not something that I think is going to happen overnight. I'm just continuing to have my lessons, continuing to see my loan pony, but equally would love to have my own in the future. Might be in 6 months, might be in a year, might be, you know, yeah, we'll see. Sorry, just a delivery arrived at the door, and normally deliveries in this household are for me, and it wasn't for me, so I was being nosy about what it was. Also, has anyone really bought into like well, I think people keep calling it false spring because the weather's been so nice. I've been going out without a coat, which for me is like unheard of. Even in the summer, I always like to take a little jacket with me. But I've been brave and I've been going out without a coat. I've been for a few meals out actually lately. If anyone who watches these videos, potentially not, is from Manchester, I went to Rosafa last week, which is a Greek restaurant. It's been in Manchester for a million years, but it's just so nice. Very traditional, very friendly, always accommodating. I mean, considering in Manchester, certain restaurants you have to book like weeks or months in advance to get into, whereas this place is rammed every Saturday. I mean, it was a Thursday night and it was rammed, but it's rammed on a Saturday night. But if you go in, they always try and accommodate you. We go in and sometimes they're like, oh, not booked. And they're like, don't worry, we'll make space for you. They're really good. So I went there with an old work friend last week, so that was nice. And then I also went out last night to the Sparrows, and for anyone that's a foodie in Manchester, the Sparrows will be like old news now, but I've never been. And I don't know how I'd describe it because it's not an Italian place, but they do pasta, but then they also do Polish like pierogi dumplings, and then these Russian dumplings. I can't remember what they're called, but they're a bit crispy and fried, whereas pierogies I'd describe as more like a big gyoza. That, and then like for anyone who is Polish, I'm sorry to describe them in that way because I'm sure they're like very distinct to that culture, but they're beautiful. I'm just trying to think of an easy way to describe them for people that maybe don't know. So what they generally say is that you go and you pick a pasta each, and I think between 4 of us they recommend, including your pasta each, 11 dishes. Now we had 2 bowls of olives and 12 dishes. We were full. But to be fair, I think if we hadn't have had the olives and we'd have had 11 dishes, I actually would have probably could have eaten more. So I think it was called spatzel pasta, which is kind of, if you can imagine, like a really thick spaghetti tube, well, spaghetti, not tube, lace, spaghetti noodle, but it's like this big and just twisted. That's like what a spatzel is. Pappardelle and what was the other pasta you could have? Oh, gnocchi. So I had pork cheeks in a creamy sauce with spatzel. That was delicious. Someone else had the spatzel with butter and sage. Oh my god, that was incredible. That was really nice. And then someone had spatzel with chorizo and someone had gnocchi with chorizo. And then we had both types of pierogi that they did, both types of the Russian dumplings that they did, and then a few other like sharing boards. There was like a trout, a rainbow trout, a fish sharing board, sausage. Yeah, oh my god, delicious, really nice. And not overly expensive really. It was very small though, probably need to book in advance, several weeks in advance I would probably say. But yeah, good food, good company, and good service, and I think good value for what we got, so that was really nice as well. Anyway, that was kind of a bit of a detour because oh, got hair on my shoulder. What I actually want to show you is, you might remember last quarter, and I'm going to say quarter because these come out seasonally, so maybe I should say last season, I got a package from a company called Fern, and it was my first perfume that I got on the Fern ledger, and I've just received, and I've waited to unbox this now, is the Spring 26. So I thought I'd share it with you. So what you always get is a few different things. So this is a little cinema ticket that you get. So it's normally a little show. You scan the QR code and there's like a digital show that you watch as part of the experience of getting perfume. These are like little beavers. I don't know if I can get it focus. Yeah, little beavers. So you normally get a piece of artwork, although I can see a piece of artwork in there actually, so I'm not sure what is in this envelope. I want to do it really carefully. It says, "A sound map of Nop Wildland by Fern." Oh yeah, okay, so what you normally get is a little bit of an intro to the perfume. So, oh, isn't that illustration just the cutest? You got a little beaver, a kingfisher, fish, and then some ducks. How cute! I like to keep these, but I need to find some. Does anyone get Fern? And where do you keep all the things? Because I don't want to throw them away. They're just so beautiful. But knowing me, they'll end up just shoved in a drawer at the back of the room somewhere. In fact, what I am doing, sorry, this is a slight detour, is I'm getting a new office, which is very exciting, coming soon. So maybe I'll keep some of the things and I can display some of the little bits of artwork in the office maybe. Like that would be really, really sweet on the side or on the wall above my desk. In a little frame maybe. So it says, anyway, sorry, sidetracked. For Spring 26, we've collaborated with the Nep Estate. Oh, so that says Nep Wildland. Okay, sorry. Rewind, Laura. For Spring 26, we have collaborated with the Nep Estate in Sussex, one of the first major rewilding projects are in England. From the trills of rare endangered birds to the snuffles of Tamworth pigs, this immersive sound map has been created to accompany Fern's Spring 26 fragrance and film. Oh my god! How cute! Like, look at that. That is just, like, you don't just pay for a bottle of perfume when you get this. You get like an entire experience. And I forget that actually, because I was thinking it was come round to that time again where my Fern perfume is due, and I was thinking, oh, do I really need another perfume? But it is the whole experience really, isn't it? So that's really cute. And then I think this will be artwork. This is a little booklet. But it says, we begin at dawn with the luminous freshness of spring, a citrus accord of lemon, bitter orange, petitgrain shimmers, and then hums into life with timu pepper and ginger root, like insects rising into the sun. This is the illuminated herbarium. Gorgeous. Oh, it's like Christmas, isn't it? Because you don't actually have to keep the perfume, because obviously you don't smell it in advance, you don't try it in advance. So you normally get the perfume in the box, it's sealed. And if you want to keep it, you break the seal. But how do you know you want to keep it? They always send a little sample box. So in the sample box, you get a diffusion stone. So I also got a diffusion stone for my winter fragrance. You can still smell it actually. And you basically just spray 5 or 6 times on the stone and then leave it in a room. And then you just top it up as needed, because it's really porous, so the smell obviously soaks in, and it gives the room fragrance as well as yourself. So that's really cool. You also get, given it's spring, some wildflower seeds. Oh, I've tried growing wildflowers before and failed because we all know that I'm not very good at gardening, if you're not new here. Yeah, but I'll try and grow those. I'll do it. Right, let's try. I'm going to use the sampling kit first. I don't know what that smell is. You know when you come into spring and things start to get a bit fresher, but it's not full, juicy, citrus fresh. But there's citrus in there, but there's still an element of, I don't know what the smell is, but I describe it as like powdery. Ah, there we go. So, blended with organic Italian grain vodka. Okay, grouped by top, mid and base notes. So I'll just summarise because there's quite a lot of information in here. But in the top notes, we've got things like cognac oil, pepper, ginger root, lemon, bitter orange, bergamot rind. So it's very Italian focused, along with the Italian grain vodka. And then the mid notes are valerian root, rose de mal, blue chamomile, petitgrain, hoe wood and neroli. And then the base notes are broom, tuberose, orange flower and red cedar. I'm not a perfume connoisseur really. I have no clue what I'm talking about, but it's obviously hard to describe it to you through a camera. What I would say though is that all the scents are quite different. They're not something that I ever find if you pop into Selfridges or Boots, for example. I personally really like a fresh fragrance or quite a sweet fragrance, but not too sweet. But recently I've moved more into, you know, things that are just a bit different that other people don't have necessarily. This is a good one. I like this one. So that's the sample kit, and then, as I said, if you like it, you just pierce the sides. It comes in a little box. They normally look like this, and then there we go. A little spring 26 Fern organic perfume. But what I need to do is make sure I don't get it mixed up with my winter 26. In fact, I'm gonna spray a bit of winter 26. Yeah, there's something about them that's both quite similar, but this is more like the winter one's more rich and the spring one is more fresh. So yeah, anyway, that was all I wanted to share with you, to be honest. Oh, I did say I'm getting a new office, which is exciting. Basically, I wouldn't say we're both working from home a lot more, but Tom is in need of our current office a lot more than he ever was. And we've got a spare bedroom, but we do utilise it as a spare bedroom, but in a way it's kind of wasted space because we could really do with, when we're both working from home, having a proper setup. And so what we've said is, while I don't want to lose, oh, and also I don't really have a filming space, to be honest. And so whilst we don't want to lose having a spare bed when we have guests, I think if we get a sofa bed and then a desk that's either small, slim, or maybe can fold down. I've been looking at a writing bureau actually, because the writing bureaus generally tend to be slimmer than a desk, but then because you can pull the top down into a desk, it opens up still with the space that you need. And I found a lot of dark wood ones on like Facebook Marketplace for really reasonable prices. And if it's needing a bit of TLC, there's a lady who upcycled the drawers in our bedroom. I'll probably get her to just upcycle it for me. But I'm hoping I can get one that's still got a bit of character, looks a bit old. So we're getting our current bed collected in the next couple of weeks, and then over time I'll start to just build out that space, and hopefully you'll see me in there relatively soon. But yeah, it's what time is it now? It's about 5 o'clock. Gonna make some tea. I'm hopefully soon going to plant up some more things in the garden. I really want to make an effort with the garden this year, so I'll keep you posted on that. I'll let you know how we're settling in at the stables. And yeah, hopefully I will not leave it too long to speak to you soon. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.